Well, Harriet Tubman never actually freed the slaves. She just had the slaves go work for other white people.
Y'all, we leaving right now.
She just had the slaves go work for other white people.
Y'all, we leaving right now.
Let's clarify some things about what Kanye had to say. Because I've been seeing a lot of black people going around saying,
well, Kanye West wasn't in the wrong, you see. He kind of was right about that.
Let's break down what this man said. He said that Harriet Tubman didn't actually free the slaves. She just sent them to work for more white people. Let's break down this narrative. First of all, if anybody knows anything about Harriet Tubman, she went out of her way to escape being off of a plantation and then going back and taking slaves and giving them the opportunity to go up north and start a life for their own self. Whether it's working for another white person, at least in this particular predicament, they are getting a particular type of resource called money in which they could build a profit or build some form of balance for themselves in which they could do for their own. Or even aside from that, maybe they didn't even have to go work for somebody. They could go off somewhere and work for their own and do for their own and build up a business. They could start a farm, whatever the case may be. For you to say, for you to discredit, for you to discredit Harriet Tubman's work and level it down to her just sending black people to go work for other white people in that particular narrative, in that context, is very disingenuous, both to the ancestors that took the courage to leave the plantation knowing that that's life or death. That if they were to return back to that plantation, they would have had one of their arms cut off, they would have been lynched, they would have been whipped half to death. You see what I'm saying? So for you to say that, oh no, they just went to go work for other white people, they weren't really free. When you have the context of what predicament they were in, what else did you want them to do? Because you only have two options. You're either going to go up north and start your own life, or you're going to revolt and die a slave. Well, Tyrone, they were a slave either way. Not the fucking point. The point is that they got tired of being sick and tired. They got tired of waking up early in the morning, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, and then working all the way down to 7 to 8 o'clock at night, getting scraps from the big house, and then having one day off on Sunday. They got tired of working and living that way, so they decided to move up north. They decided to go with Harriet Tubman and be free. They rather take that chance of living out on their own and trying to produce some form of profit or some form of value for themselves, whatever risk that they could take at that time, than to stay living on the plantation working for somebody for the rest of their life. And then for you to discredit them and say they were just working for more white people, it wasn't a big deal. And I swear, like, black people, a lot of us, we discredit our ancestors because we live privilege. You know, a lot of people will be like, we're not our ancestors. A lot of these people who are saying this about Harriet Tubman, they're the same ones that come out with these songs talking about, we're not our ancestors, we'll beat you up. We're not our ancestors, we fight back. When? Talking about, we're not our ancestors, they couldn't do that to me back in the 50s and 60s. Yeah, you say that now, when everything's all Gucci and okay for you. You say that now, when a roof is over your head and you making ends meet for yourself. You have your own little business going on. You're making good money. You know, you didn't have to go through that fight, so now you living in the privilege or the so-called privilege or the comfortability that your ancestors gave you, and you know, they couldn't do that to me. You know, our ancestors, they were passive and weak, this and the third. And the amount of disrespect that you give to your ancestors, when you spit in their face to say these type of things, to discredit the work and the fight that they had to put in to give you your freedom. A lot of y'all need to be taking a dirt nap. A lot of y'all need to kick the bucket. A lot of y'all are beyond repair to the point for you to say some stupid stuff like this and then try to cap for Kanye? The same man that's sleeping with Kim Kardashian? The same man that said slavery was a choice? That's beyond me. That's beyond me. For I cannot ever discredit the work that Harriet Tubman put in by saying, oh no, she just moved the other black people to work for other white people. So to say that she didn't really free them, the work that she put in of going up and back, forward and back to different slave plantations and freeing people, there was no real work in that. There was no real strategy. There was no real intellectual ability in that. Anybody could have done that. You see what I'm saying? It's like I said, we live in this comfortability, if that's even a word that I could use for this. We live in this state, in this illusion, this matrix, in which we are comfortable. You see what I'm saying? We are comfortable in the way that we are living. You know, we have our own job, we have our own car, we have our own house, this, that, and the third. And mind you, the people who are moving up north wanted to have that opportunity to live on their own, to do what they wanted to do, to live out their life in which they could create a type of life for themselves and for their children and grandchildren. And you have the nerve, knowing not a goddamn thing about your ancestry or your history, got the nerve to say Harriet Tubman didn't really free the slaves. What's next? Nat Turner didn't really have a revolution. He didn't really have a rebellion. He just killed off a couple of white people. You see what I'm saying? You know how stupid that sounds? Well, there wasn't really a Haitian revolution because they went back to being... You see how stupid that sounds? It's just going to get worse and worse for some of these Negroes. But that's that. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And make sure you also follow my social media. You know, here's my email. Like, share, and follow. And for more deep, in-depth content, please become a Patreon today. For only $2.50 a month, you can become an official supporter of Rome Productions, and you can get some very well in-depth content, also provided with PDF books and documentaries, and so on and so forth. Last but not least, we finally have some new merchandise out. So that means we got some new shirts, hoodies, and all type of stuff that you can now shop today at Rome Central. Just go in the link below and shop today.
Recognition.